So poops, remember our most qualified professor? The woman that our anti-colonial sims are throwing money at? Well, I did some research and I think it's much worse than that. And so today I have to ask, is Solehah Yaacob running a cult? So poops, it's no secret to you by now that Solehah Yaacob is very popular. The other day she had 160,000 followers, now she has 161,000. Wow. Now this could all just be your typical influencer fun and games. Haha, how could anybody be so stupid to believe in flying Malays, teachers of the Romans? At first I thought it was all just fun and games, no problem at all, until I saw this post, where she talks about how Malay sailors were the earliest long-distance traders, they were skilled mariners with the blah blah blah, and she cited this source right here. Why? Because apparently she was having a nice TikTok fight over her Roman shipbuilding theory, talking about the Assyrians apparently. And I was like, what are the Assyrians? Only to discover that she actually meant the Assyrians. How wonderful that being a professor doesn't require you to know how to spell. But anyway, she puts in this source right here, Richard L. Smith, Pre-Modern Trade in World History, from Routledge, London, 2009. While her supporters declare yang issues ni mostly golongan ultra kiasu dan orang kita sendiri yang tak pernah mengkaji pun. Bila Prof membentangkan fakta rujukan, baru gelabah mereka. And walau ada yang saya tak sependapat, tapi percayalah saya akan terus berdoa agar lebih ramai lagi ilmuwan seperti Prof lahir dan muncul di tanah Melayu ini. And I'm like, I will banyakkan membaca. Or at least I would want to, if not for the fact that the source either has to be requested, borrowed, although even the UNESCO digital library doesn't have it, downloaded for the affordable price of $56 US, or purchased for the affordable price of 39.99 GBP. So I'm like, alright, how exactly do I banyakkan membaca, Prof?
Not sure if she does either, unless it's The Onion, by the way.
I don't want to accuse anyone, but what I will say is that to make this video, I went over to the International Celtic Studies Association website and I actually did some academic research, which is probably a bit more than what this woman does when she's taking a random page out of a book, marking all of the sources, declaring read a few sources, tick with the blue pen, hashtag banyakkan membaca, terima kasih Prof, jangan mengalah Prof, most people are too lazy to read, Prof. But yeah, there's an important question that we need to ask, which is, what do you need for a cult to actually form? Turns out Robert J. Lifton actually studied this many years ago when he wrote Thought Reform and the Psychology of Totalism, a study of brainwashing in China, which by the way, you can access through the link right there. No barriers to entry. So anyway, I took this article, all of the criteria for cult formation, whether milieu control, purity and confession, and blah 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 blah. Put it all into ChatGPT to make a simple little analysis for all of you. And here we are in our little investigation. And we note that milieu control is part of creating a cult. I mean, this woman is basically just citing books that you cannot actually read. Out of context, everyone is saying banyakkan membaca, but I can tell you that 99.5% of all these people do not in fact membaca at all. And somehow she just maintains this illusion that she is the great researcher. May more of her be born in this country, because apparently her followers have never heard of this little thing called the internet and must listen to her podcast to learn about the world. Truly amazing information control. And the cute thing about this is that we could definitely say mystical manipulation. I mean, if people are going around and saying that you're doing this for the agama or for jati diri, naturally people aren't going to fight against that. If you initiate an issue, then you are an ultra kiasu, a barwa bangsa, somebody who doesn't know what we know. Tak apa, biar puak-puak tu maki, kita je yang tahu. As people scream about liberals, corruption, being under colonial influence, despite the fact that this historian cannot even spell Assyrian. And here you have people who are declaring, terima kasih atas perkongsian, Prof. They talk about inquiry and doing research, but again they accept what she says because she's a researcher, she has publications, because truly she is superior. The universe has given her to Malaysia so that we may be enlightened. And there you are with the loading of the language to history, religion, race, ethnicity. If you challenge her, kau jangan debat barua. And if you criticize her, then you become part of what ini. Because apparently, actually having an academic debate does not work for this woman. Preaching decolonization, using her English sources, talking about Orientalists while quoting Richard L. Smith, it's hilarious, truly amazing, it's wow. Her sources are inaccessible. As a leader, she is unquestioned. She talks about flying Malays and shipbuilding and kung fu. If you're in the group, you are superior. If you are out of it, you are bad. Decolonize, decolonize, decolonize. Even as the mindless Sims depend upon this woman one after another. Terima kasih, prof. And if you go against her, then sorry, I guess you're a barua. Well, and here we are, at the end of it all. It's a perfect match with Lifton's cult framework. None of this is an accusation that this woman is actually running a cult. I'm just asking the question right here. The same way I might ask if this is, in fact, hashtag ajaran sesat. I mean, I don't think she's gonna end up becoming like a Heaven's Gate, Aum Shinrikyo, Al Arkan, but it's a valid question, right?
Or maybe I'm wrong and this is actually worse than I thought.
See, this would be a minor problem if people weren't literally thinking that she's preaching history and then connecting it over to Jati Diri and understanding their place in the world, which is totally fine to do if you're actually doing research, actually following academic standards, and actually telling people about their real place in the world. But instead, here she is, just feeding the addiction that people have to be told that they are actually amazing, they are wonderful, they can fly, they have firasat, and it is very, very popular. And so you really have to wonder, what would it be like if the entire country were to be obsessed or hoodwinked, if we can say it like that, by the real product of IIUM, with a PhD not in history, not in genealogy, not in anthropology, but instead in Arabic language studies. And genius followers who apparently think that Doctor of Philosophy means she studied philosophy. Well, that's all to say about that, and bye.